Hello and welcome to the TCF Morning Show. It is Tuesday, November 30th, and this morning I am joined by Boomy at Boomy TCF on Twitter and Maddie at schools_01 on Twitter. I am Zach Lilia at Z Lilia TCF. The main page is at typical_sh. Chicago this morning we'll be talking about the Bulls. They beat the Hornets last night 133 to 119. We'll get more into that. The Blackhawks, they're playing decent as of late. We'll dive more into that. They're kind of hit and miss when they want to play well. The Bears, they somehow beat the Lions on Thanksgiving 16 to 14. I apologize to anyone who had to watch that. MLB free agency is crazy right now. And something that's just about as crazy is the college football coaching hires, the moves they are making. We will end the show like we always do with Boomy's Wacky Web Story. If you want to follow us on Facebook or Instagram, just type in "typical Chicago fans." You will find us on there. Go over to YouTube, type in "typical Chicago fans." Subscribe to the YouTube page. Uh, we have all of our morning shows, podcasts, interviews, all on there. And then wherever you get your podcast from, just type in "typical Chicago fans" and you will find us on there. If it's Apple, please subscribe, rate, and review. Like I said, if it's anything else, just type in "typical Chicago fans." You will find us on there. Give us a listen. Shout out to Connect Roasters. If you're looking for some Christmas ideas for presents, make sure you go over to Connect Roasters. They got coffee. They got things that you make coffee with. They got merch. So go over there, check them out for the best coffee I know about. My mother loves it. I love it. I know a lot of people who love it. Boomy would love it, like I always say, if he liked coffee. Maddie, I'm not sure if you're a coffee guy. You'd love it too. But go over to connectroasters.com and follow them on all social medias. Also, if you're looking for a present, go to Beer Baseball Repeat, and you will find the TCF T-shirt there. Boomy has rocked it in the past. He said it is a beautiful shirt.
Oh, they're
Uh,
phenomenal.
a very affordable shirt. We got sweatshirts, t-shirts, long sleeves, tank tops. If you're looking for a Christmas present, or if you're looking for a Christmas present for yourself, make sure you go onto there, check them out. Beer Baseball Repeat. They also have a ton of other shirts that you can get your family members for Christmas. Your friends would love it. I know I love some of those shirts. The designs are awesome. And make sure you follow them on Instagram at Beer Baseball Repeat. But boys, it's been a little bit since we last had a show. We had the holidays, Thanksgiving. It got a little crazy. But we're back with the TCF Morning Show. Boys, how are we doing?
Doing good, man. Busy time of year, but that's what it's all about. I every time I start thinking that, like, oh, it's so busy and getting hectic. I remember like a year and a half ago when we were sitting right here
Yes, very
and
true.
not having anywhere to go and playing video games, and it kind of puts things into perspective. So busy but good, man. And the sports world is chaotic right now, and that's the way we all love it. So can't complain.
Maddie, how are we doing?
Good, good. Spent the weekend hanging Christmas lights, getting Christmas trees up, getting all the house set up in the festive nature.
I
Having a
see the
kid,
Christmas.
I was gonna
I
say.
see the Christmas tree behind you, and I
yeah,
love it.
that's one of them. We got another one upstairs. This one's just more like the basement tree, just to add a little cheer to the. We got a
If it
nicer
was
one
if it
upstairs.
was like normal, I would keep my Christmas tree up all year round. I love it.
I used to
I'm
I
with
used to
you.
hate Christmas. Having a kid flip that, it just reinvigorated my love for Christmas. So it's been good. Went and saw some light shows over the weekend, some of the drive through ones that you do and stuff. So that was a good time. Hell of a way to make some money if you need a side gig too, by the way. Throw some light shows together and you can make a killing on what they charge to get into those things. But
I
No,
went
man.
yeah,
to one. I went to one with my sister and my nephew. The line to get into this thing was insane.
yeah, yeah, we did one drive through one, we did one that you walk through. Yeah, it's they're everywhere and they ain't cheap.
No, Maddie. Actually, the shout out to the LaSalle Festival of Lights down here in LaSalle, Illinois. I work in LaSalle, and they put on a huge one out there. And I know one time we went to go there, their line was legitimately 3 miles long. But shout out to that because they do like stuff for like local charities. Like I know the place I work at, they have like 3 or 4 nights that like our staff can go work there, and we get to keep like a percentage of the donations, and it goes to good funds and stuff. So this is definitely the right time of year for that. Those are popping up. I
Yeah,
was
and
driving
don't
up
get me
there.
wrong, they were well worth the entertainment too. They're very
Yes.
cool displays, very cool shows and stuff. I don't mean to besmirch that at all, but be
Right.
prepared to spend a little bit of money, more than you would think, to see some lights. I'll just say that.
Yeah, for real. Make sure you bring your wallet.
Anything fun costs money, I think,
Yeah,
nowadays.
That's true.
there's no free lunch anymore. That's for sure.
But let's get right into the topics, boys. Bulls. They are 14-8 now. They beat the Hornets 133 to 119. A lot of points. They had their best third quarter I've seen all year. Vucevic with a 30-point game. Easily his best game of the year. You love to see him getting back into form. This team is fun to watch. We had the Ball brothers playing each other tonight. That was exciting to see. LaMelo Ball, very good player. His team, not very good, but you can tell that he's going to be a good player for a long time in this league. But the Bulls look good. They play Thursday night against the New York Knicks. They get 2 days off, which is going to be awesome for them because they've just been on a crazy, crazy schedule here. They went out west, and now I think they're going out east for a little bit. For them to get 2 days off is awesome. But it's every time they play, it's appointment television, and you are excited to watch them play, and they're living up to it.
Yeah, it's been really fun. I mean, even they've had some, lulls. Obviously, they get smacked around by Indiana, and they have the disappointing loss to Houston. But like that's a part of the NBA season. We can't forget it's an 82 game season. Yeah, it sucks they shouldn't lose to the Rockets. I thought they should have beat the Heat. But like if you look back, 12 months ago, where were we at with this team? And it was like maybe we'll get lucky in a good night and we'll stack up a couple wins. But this team is competitive every night. I saw that. Vooch, Zach LaVine, and DeMar DeRozan combined for 83 points tonight. When you're getting that out of your top 3 guys, that's hard to match with. And, you want to see all those guys firing at once. And obviously Vooch has been a little bit of a downslide here lately. So to see him bounce back with that tonight, I mean, you got to take care of the games that you're the better team, and you can't have a ton of losses like the ones you did against the Rockets. But I like where things are going, man. They're fun to watch, and any given night they can give any team in the league outside of maybe the Warriors, fits. So just keep tuning in. They're just going to keep impressing you.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Warriors are just going to get better here.
The Warriors
with getting Klay Thompson back.
Yeah, they won like 14, or no, who was it? There was someone out west that had won like 14 games in a row, or like 14 out of 16, and they still weren't in first place because the Warriors are just dominating everybody.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and real quick, you guys mentioned, obviously LaVine and Vucevic and DeRozan's ability to score, almost threw up 90 between the 3 of them tonight. You got to also look at what Lonzo Ball brings to that those 3 scorers that are very need the ball in their hands to be able to do what they do, and you need to have a distributor like Ball, and he's done a great job. He's fit in really well with this roster, and I think him and Donovan seem to have a very good kind of connection, the whole point guard extension of the coach kind of idea and all that stuff. Seems like those guys have a decent relationship already. And Ball, his dad is what he is. He's a sideshow. He's kind of a character and everything, but it's hard to complain about what Lonzo Ball's brought to this team. And, from day one, and seems like he's a good teammate. Seems like he's trying to be a leader on the floor. And I've blown away from what they've gotten from him, in my opinion.
Yeah, 16 and 8 tonight out of him. You get 8 dimes, and I mean, not even the stats that get counted in the the stat sheet.
So good defensively.
Great defensively. If they counted hockey assists in basketball, I feel like he would have a lot of those too. He makes an extra
all those
pass
secondaries. Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's the kind of stuff when guys can play their roles. Like that's exactly what Lonzo Ball is doing this year. And I think like 5 years ago, we were all just dogging this guy because it was kind of a sideshow, and that's cleared up much. And he's turned into a legitimate.
Well, maybe that's
certified
part of what
NBA
his dad's thing was, is take the spotlight off the kids and like let them do their thing, and I can,
Yeah.
you know, all the criticism can come to me that way. You know, if it's the grand master plan of the whole thing, then God, he's a bigger genius than any of us. But you know, kudos
So are you
to
saying
Lonzo.
that you're doing the same thing so that your son can be the next podcasting protege, and you're getting out in front of it?
Yes. Well,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
confirmed.
I respect that a lot.
Well, and the more and more this team plays together, it's just going to get better. Like I said, Vooch has been sick with COVID. He's just coming back. Kobe is just getting into the rotation. So the more and more they play together, the better and better this is going to get. I'm excited for this team. I don't know where my excitement level is for the Blackhawks right now. They're 7-12-2. They got 16 points. They play Thursday in Washington, D.C. against the Capitals, which is going to be a very tough game for them. They can't string together wins. It just doesn't seem like it's there every night.
I don't know. I feel like there's just so many pieces there, and it's like when it's good, it's good. And like we saw it on the West Coast trip that, they were putting it together. But like you said, Zach, there's just some inconsistencies there. And then you're having nights where you're asking Marc-Andre Fleury to stand on his head, and, you can't expect that out of him every night when the defense breaks out like that. It's much better than it was. Don't get me wrong. I'm not looking a gift horse in the mouth here, but it's you're not entirely wrong in the sense that like it is kind of seem a little inconsistent at times, but we're a long way from where we were a month ago. I know Maddie's a lot deeper in this, but there's my observations from the outside.
It's hard to invest into this team right now.
Yeah,
It really is. It feels very hopeless this season. There's good parts. I think Seth Jones has been. Anybody who complained about that signing, just go ahead and just never talk again, because you're wrong. Until you're willing to admit you're wrong about that one, then just go ahead and just keep your opinion to yourself. But outside of that, it's just been one of those things. You're not getting the production from Taves. Kane and Taves, they've got miles, man. They've played a lot of hockey, played a lot of impact hockey. And at some point, it's going to start catching up to them. And they don't have enough firepower. They don't have anywhere near the young talent that a lot of these teams have. You look at that lineup that Florida's trotting out there, and Tampa, and it's just Carolina's got a really good team. Colorado's just loaded top to bottom with talent. I mean, they're so far away from some of those top end teams in terms of just sheer.
Well, they started off. They put themselves in such a hole to start the season. It's just gonna. They're just trying to climb the ladder the whole season.
Well, and you remember, like when the Hawks were good, they were winning cups. They had 4 lines that were just rolling out there that all of them were producing. They're lucky to get 2 lines producing. At this point, that right there will tell you what you need to know. And goaltending has been great with Fleury. I'd hate to see where they'd be without him. He's guy's outstanding. Problem is, you can't trade him, because after everything that dude dealt with, if he gets traded at a trade deadline, can't imagine that's going to go over real well with him. So you lose a lot of credibility around the league, and to a team that's already an organization that's already got a significant black eye hovering around them over this
I was
season.
gonna say, you add that stuff in, it makes it
you add
real
stuff
hard.
like bad player mismanagement and things like that to it, and they're not gonna get out of this rut. So they're just gonna at some point probably have to just take the stick of dynamite to it and fucking blow it into the lake and start it over. But it is what it is. Not much. There's not much you can really say about the Hawks. They're a lower tier team in the league right now. That's the way it is.
They'll be a team we watch all season, but not much hope right now.
Yeah, it's rough.
Maddie, tell me if this is a dumb analogy here. It's like dating someone who is like very wishy-washy on like, you think you like this person and you want to like this person, but this person is like the most, wishy-washy, like you don't know what they're going to do the next day. Like you said, this team is just in the middle of hockey purgatory right now.
You're just in the place you just you don't want to be. You're not good anywhere near good enough to like, seal the deal or want to seal the deal. And you're to comment on your analogy, but you're also like, I don't know, man. It's just, what are you getting out of it? Like, it's just like everyone's fucking miserable, and it's just one of those things where it's I don't know. It just feels like just they have no direction right now. They're just kind of just floating.
It's like the Bulls those late years under Garpax.
Yeah, feels a lot like it.
Strikingly similar.
Something that also was kind of depressing. The Bears Lions game on Thanksgiving, 16-14. The Lions played awful. They played awful, and the Bears still had to have a game-winning field goal. I don't know. Andy Dalton, he's going to go out there. He's not going to embarrass you. He's going to play well. He's a good backup quarterback. A lot of the defense is hurt. They play the Cardinals on Sunday at Soldier Field.
Speaking of dynamite,
this team, it's going to be a tough watch the rest of the year.
Arizona's going to be a fun way to come back after that Thanksgiving game again.
The best team in the
Tyler
NFL.
Probably healthy now, and Cliff Kingsbury will probably be freshly padded in his wallet. And
you know what? I'm just happy we didn't lose to the Lions. You know what? I don't want to be their only win, so I'll take that. But
you got to take some saving grace in that.
But Sunday is going to be tough. The rest of the season is going to be tough. We play the Seahawks, which might be a win. The Vikings, Green Bay
sucks.
Yeah.
Seahawks are trash.
I think they were talking about it on Redline Radio, but does it hurt a little bit more knowing that the NFL season's going into almost like mid-January? Aren't you ready to just like cut the cord, but you got to suffer through this for another 6 weeks?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. But hey, we're still in it. We're still in it. We're in the hunt. We're in the hunt, boys.
Yeah, in the hunt.
If I have to die so Matt Nagy can walk, so fucking be
it. That's valid.
Whoever thinks that Matt Nagy is going to be fired within the season, he's not going to. Just forget that.
If it didn't happen after last week, after all that, information that he was gone, like if it didn't happen after that, and like let's not act like the performance that the Bears gave on Thanksgiving was like
some awe-inspiring.
We got to keep this guy around. Really saved his job beating. Saved his job beating the Lions by 2 against a team that had no reason to win that game.
It was definitely.
And officially, there's no reason that the Lions should have to make a playoff game before they're allowed to play on Thanksgiving again.
By the way,
very true.
Just to talk about the Lions real quick and the rest of the NFL, people are starting to fucking realize Matt Stafford just kind of stinks. I'm just going to remind you.
I heard some unbelievable stat. He is like 8-60 something against teams that have ended the season over 500. Like some unreal stat. Not good. All right, let's get into the MLB free agency craziness that has happened over the last few days. Max Scherzer to the Mets, 3 years, $130 million. The reigning AL Cy Young winner, Robbie Ray, to Seattle for 5 years, $115 million. People getting paid. But let's hear this one. Corey Seager to Texas Rangers for 10 years, $325 million. $325 million for Corey Seager over the next 10 years.
That is absurd.
Kevin Gausman to the Toronto Blue Jays, 5 years. 5 years, $110 million. The Rangers also get infielder Marcus Semien for 7 years, $175 million. You put those two contracts together, him and Corey Seager, they just signed up for a lot of money, over $500 million.
With a very good middle infield,
very true.
That's huge.
And then Avisail Garcia to the Miami Marlins, 4 years, $53 million, which I think sneaky could be the best signing of the offseason. That's a great deal for him.
Wait, you think Seager's got a lot of money though? Wait till you see what Correa's going to get now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just raising the price on some of these guys. Baez is going to get a boatload. Chris Bryant's going to get a boatload. Schwarber's going to get paid.
Rizzo's going to get paid.
I don't know. I don't think Rizzo.
I'm not saying he's going to get a ton of money, but at this rate, he's going to get a pretty good deal.
I think someone's going to get a bargain on a guy like Rizzo, unfortunately for him. But I think for whoever signs him is going to get a very effective player for a deal that's probably less than what he could have made a year or two ago, which is crazy to think.
Yeah.
Maybe the Cubs.
I would love it, dude. I'd take him back in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
but Scherzer to the Mets, Scherzer and DeGrom on the same pitching rotation is just rude.
Yeah. I think it's going to make for some rough weekends when you have to face one of those guys on Friday, one of them on a Saturday, and who knows on Sunday. So it's going to be a rough weekend series for that.
They are the only one of 5 teams now that will have 2 former Cy Young pitchers on opening day in like the last 40 years or something like that.
It's unreal.
Like back to back of the former Cy Young winners. Obviously not including this year. I saw some on Twitter, but like you said,
I saw that too.
They're going all in, and they're not done. They clearly want Baez back. I think the Mets saw what the Braves did and said, "Hey, we were right there this year. Like we were a couple moves away from it." And obviously, Syndergaard flamed out this year, but like they're not that far off, and they underperformed. And you add Max to that pitching rotation, the Mets are going to be dangerous, I think. And you see all these teams going all in.
If they don't bring in Baez, or if they don't bring back Baez, I could see them going and getting Bryant. It's not going to cost them a whole lot different, and he's a perfect fit for the Mets, I think.
I agree. And I also heard the Mariners are in on KB. I mean, you had him and Robbie Ray. Like, they then become contenders in a very – I mean, the Astros are there, but, like, the AL West is,
Well, the Rangers, we just talked about them. They're going to be better.
Yeah. I mean,
the A's are selling off everybody, so, the Angels are going to be improved.
This is their time to pounce with Correa, not probably, most likely not ending up back in Houston. But, man, is it disappointing to see – teams all around the MLB making these moves while the 2 teams in Chicago sit, sucking their thumb doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, White Sox
is cranked up, man.
White Sox and Cubs have made pretty much no moves.
Since the Wade Miley signing.
It seems like most Sox fans that I see on Twitter are pretty resigned to them getting Conforto. I don't know that that's necessarily a done deal either. I think Conforto's going to have a lot more suitors than they think.
Well, like, think about the Mets being able to go in now and say, "Hey, look, we just added Scherzer, and we got it. Yeah, we were right there this year. We're right, kicking on the doors of the playoffs. Look what we've done. Your whole career since you were drafted by us."
I think Conforto and the Mets are at a bridge that's probably been burned. I don't think they're. I don't think he wants to be there, kind of thing.
That makes sense. But it's not like he's not going to have – I mean, he's going to have tons of suitors.
He's going to get paid.
Yeah.
But Conforto, a guy who has struggled in the past.
Yeah, very much like Schwarber.
Oh, yeah.
Very similar to Schwarber in that kind of up and down, and showed flashes and had a good season and then had a down season and then is just kind of never knew what you were going to get from him. Very similar in that regard.
Absolutely.
I would just love to hear if the White Sox went after Scherzer, went after Robbie Ray, because those are guys that they need right now. I understand they got Giolito, they got Lance Lynn, but they seen what happened to their pitching in the playoffs.
What about Castellanos too? That's another guy who hasn't signed.
Oh
yeah, I heard he wants 8 to 10 years.
Well, that's a big. I mean That's a big.
If you're him though, and you're looking around, you're trying to get as much as you can right now.
Well, and I think a lot of that is you go in and say, "Hey, I want 8 years," and then someone offers you 5, and then you're like, "Oh, I'm still making $100 and 30 million."
And don't forget, there's some labor uncertainty too. So a lot of guys are trying to get locked up and get the bag now before they know what everything's going to look like here in the next couple months. So
I've also completely resigned to the fact the Cubs just are not going to sign anybody. I'm not getting my hopes up on anybody. I think the Ricketts are cheap. I think they basically have said that they're trying to slash. My
whole thing is Just because you're not spending on the big free agents, it doesn't mean don't do anything. So
I'm
they're
with
not
you.
doing anything.
But
There's value guys to go get. Go get some of these value guys. You know what I mean? Like, this is bullshit. I don't want to hear this activity thing. They don't have a fucking plan. That's what it seems like to me.
You're the
Because you can still
Chicago
be active. You can still be signing guys that are going to be trade
Yep.
pieces, sign them to 1-year deals that you can turn around and flip for prospects in July again. Like, those are the kind of pickups you need to be looking at right now. Starting pitchers. You know, a lot of those 3s and 4s that might be a back-end bullpen or back-end rotation guys for playoff teams that are going to be willing to give up a top 10 prospect maybe in July for a playoff push. Start stocking up on guys like that, but they aren't doing shit, and that's what's getting frustrating about this team.
I think the White Sox and Cubs can both agree on something, and that is their teams need to make a move.
Yeah, got to do something, man.
Do
Quit standing
something
on the sideline while everybody's running the race. Like, that's what it seems like right now.
But let's move on,
Cubs
boys.
got Wade Miley.
Yeah. Let's hang our hat on that one.
Let's move on though to college football. A lot of coaches making some moves. A lot of big time coaches. Actually, just 2. Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame to go to LSU, and Lincoln Riley leaving Oklahoma to go to USC. First off, I think Oklahoma, by going to the SEC, kind of ran Lincoln Riley out of town. He didn't want to. That's a lot of competition. It's a lot of tough teams you got to play. And you go to USC, you play in the Pac-12. You get to play out in California.
You own the west half of the country.
Yes.
You dominate at USC.
And it's like, what do you want to do?
I think
do you
that
want
was
to
a
go
bad move by Oklahoma.
Yeah. Do you want to go be middle of the pack in the SEC where you got to play Bama and LSU and Auburn every year? Or do you want to go to USC where, every year you're going to have a good chance to, find yourself in the conference title game, and you have a really good season and then you're in the Final Four. And not to mention, you get to live in Los Angeles, California as compared to Norman, Oklahoma. You complement that, the SEC move, the fact it's LA, and the fact that they've had a down season, those 3, it's a perfect, recipe for him getting the hell out of it. I'd have been on the first,
Well, and unfortunately for Oklahoma, with the transfer portal, they're going to lose probably quite a bit of recruits, quite a bit of players.
The only Oklahoma
that want to go with Lincoln Riley.
Oklahoma did the best thing possible, though, is they went and got Venables from Clemson. He's the perfect fit at Oklahoma. He's been there before. He worked as a D coordinator under Stoops for a few years. He's a great recruiter. He's one of the lead recruiters at Clemson. Sounds like he's bringing DJ Uiagalelei over, and not like he had a fantastic year, but he's a good quarterback to just plug into that, into Oklahoma and say, all right, now we know what we're doing, and we're going to go from there. I think they made the move they needed to make immediately, is getting a guy like that.
They jumped on it. Hey, I got to ask you guys this. So with Lincoln Riley going to USC, and then obviously today, Spencer Rattler comes out and says he's transferring. Someone, I don't remember who exactly it was, but they put, where will Spencer Rattler end up? And literally USC was the first one. Do you think there's a shot in hell that Spencer Rattler is going to go with Lincoln Riley, who benched him 4 games into the season? I don't think there is a shot. I saw that and I was mind blown.
I just don't think I think he wants to go to
right now. He
doesn't want to stay on that coaching staff with a new coaching staff and stuff like that. He wants to go he's gonna go somewhere else. I don't think USC is where he's gonna go, because I don't think that he would be the starting quarterback anyways.
Yeah.
Riley wants to bring Caleb Williams, but they probably have Jackson Dart might be a better prospect than both of them too. So already at USC. So don't sleep on Riley just saying, all right, I'm good with the quarterback we got here. I'm just going to win him over. The other thing though too is don't forget the fact that Lincoln Riley, three of the top 5 recruits that decommitted from Oklahoma are from the Los Angeles area.
Oh, wow.
And one of them is Malachi Wilson, quarterback, one of the top quarterbacks.
Fellas, can I throw something crazy out there?
Let's hear it.
Lane Kiffin to Notre Dame.
I don't think there's a shot in hell Notre Dame hires.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either, but that would be awesome.
I might cheer for the Irish if they hire Lane.
Oh yeah, I'd be a fan.
No, I said it
for sure.
It would make me a Notre Dame fan if they did it just for the theatrics. Is bring Urban Meyer in. Let me watch that show.
You never know.
That's supposedly that's his pinnacle job, supposedly. So I don't know.
Hey, and on another note, I know we've talked about the the carousel, but Ed Ogeron coached his last game at LSU yesterday. And if you hadn't seen, Florida hired UL Lafayette, the Raging Cajun. They hired their head coach. And I saw a bunch of people on Twitter saying that Ed Ogeron should just go right down the road to Lafayette and coach I think Ed Ogeron coaching a team called the Raging Cajuns.
I think he just made too much money.
Ed Ogeron will never be heard from again. He's got a lot of cash that will never ever be.
But that
he even went out kind of on top. He kind of went out on top with the win at LSU. He's like, I'm not coaching that bowl game.
What he's going to do is he's going to end up going and being like the D-line coach. I think it was Tom Fornelli suggested on his podcast. He said, be the D-line coach and recruiting coordinator at USC. So him and Lincoln Riley just running that show together up there. Because that's Orgeron's thing. It was he was just a dynamite recruiter and could never call a game X's and O's. Let him run the D-line and boom, there you go.
It's always funny, though, when people talk about Urban Meyer just going anywhere. It's like he does still have a job.
Yeah, exactly. I just think that there is no
a job
better
I don't think he likes very much, though.
Yeah, I don't blame him either. But I think it couldn't be more of a match made in heaven of Ed Ogeron being the coach of the Raging Cajun.
Brian Kelly, though, LSU, what do you guys think of that fit?
That's a lot of money. I mean, I don't blame him after you told me what he was making at Notre Dame. I mean,
being a private school,
sometimes you just got to change it up. Maybe you just got to. You've been at Notre Dame for so long, even though they're still in the playoff, they still could make the playoffs.
Still on the hunt.
That's crazy.
Generational wealth. Speaks and it speaks loudly. So
yeah.
It's hard to fault any of these coaches, to be perfectly honest, when they're throwing out $110 million contracts to Lincoln Riley and, $150 million contracts to Brian Kelly. Like, what fucking planet is this, man?
If you're a Notre Dame fan, are you mad?
Yes.
Yeah, you're pissed because of the timing. I mean, that's very true. The timing. One loss, and they're in the playoff.
Yeah.
Michigan loses, Cincinnati loses.
In my mind, also at the same time, guys, I don't think that's like going. I know it's a generational money, and we're talking a lot of money, but like I don't feel like that's a bad hire for LSU, even with the $15 million. Like I think Brian Kelly has done. I don't like Notre Dame, but look what he's done. They
hate to be this way. If anyone has a problem with the amount of money these coaches are making, it doesn't even matter. These schools are making so much money.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But like for what he did at Notre Dame and kind of his pedigree, we might all hate him, but they're in the conversation literally every year for the last 4 or 5 years.
He's a top tier coach, and
absolutely
he's the type of guy that's going to get that job.
Yeah, I think it's a win-win for both of them. He gets the prestige of having a job at the best conference.
LSU's got some work to be done, though.
Oh yeah, a lot of work.
And that's like both teams went from playoff contending teams to teams that were not very good this year.
Yeah.
USC, one of its worst years. And LSU, very down year after another down year. So we'll see how it goes for both of these guys. But like you said, they both got paid.
Absolutely.
Boomie, you're a Florida guy. What's your thoughts on Napier real quick?
Love the hire. He's done a great job. I mean, if you pay attention to kind of the mid-majors, right now, I think UL Lafayette has been in, that conversation for the last, however many years that Napier's been there. And I think that I think it's it does kind of a little bit of a kick in the nuts when, LSU, one of the teams you want to beat every year, goes and hires one of the best coaches in college football. But I think in the same breath, Florida went with a different approach. They went with a younger guy who's succeeded at all these places he's been at. And I mean, the Sun Belt has become, when I was in college, I mean,
Fun Belt for a reason.
Those, Sun Belt games are obviously you see teams like Coastal and Appalachian State and Georgia Southern. But I don't know. I think it's a really good hire. I think they went young, but he's got a lot to prove because obviously it's no easy feat to jump right into the SEC after. I mean, Christ, Florida was an SEC championship game away from the Final Four 12 months ago, and then Elam, that idiot, throws some kid's shoe, you lose that game, you don't give yourself a chance, and now you're running the coach out. It's like you're kind of starting at a really low point, and I think that he's got big shoes to fill here, but he better get it going fast. But people have to remember at the same time, like, it's not going to happen overnight. Florida's not going to be in the top 3 of the SEC East in a year or two. It's going to take some time, and I think if he can handle Florida the way that, and obviously add more to it with the resources, but if he can keep doing what he did at UL Lafayette, I like the hire. I think if you're going to go young and you're going to take a guy from a mid-major, I like that hire a lot.
The college football rankings will be out tonight, so we'll talk more about them on the podcast coming out here in the next few days. But Boomy, do you have a wacky web story for us to end the show?
I sure do, guys. And this kind of goes along the lines of, like, making sure you think things through and kind of, especially when the law is involved. Okay. Like, you wouldn't go to the bar before you went to, let's just say, like, a blood, what am I looking for? Like a blood test to see, like, if, you get in trouble with alcohol and you have to go get a blood test and you have alcohol. You wouldn't go to the bar beforehand, right? Well, some idiot in Germany, a 37-year-old man. So this isn't even like this is a young kid. He drove himself to his driver's license test. Yeah, I don't even know, like, why this man thought it was okay. But a 37-year-old man near Cologne, Germany, is being investigated because he showed up for his appointment to take his driver's license test in his own car. He drove himself. I don't know if you're doing the math at home right here, but you can't drive yourself if you don't have a license. And he just showed up, jumped out of the car, and they were like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" And they said, "You came here to get a license, but you drove here. You clearly drove here without a license." So let's just, as the holidays get closer, let's make sure we're thinking some things through. So, we're not idiots like this moron from Germany. So,
who am I?
What if he's
I've
the
done
first
dumb things.
person in his family to get his license?
I mean, then call an Uber.
That's very
You
German
can't.
of you, I guess.
I'm also a dum-dum because I thought about this. I need to go take my motorcycle's license, and I have a moped. Granted, it doesn't work right now, and you can take your motorcycle license on this thing. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, wait, how am I going to get this there if I don't have a license? I actually thought, I'm like, well, I'll just jump on the moped, drive to the DMV. And then I was like, wait a second, that's not going to work. And I don't know. I've definitely caught myself in this pickle, but I feel like I would have gotten
it. Seems like a difficult situation.
Yeah, but, like, I don't. It is a weird situation, but you just got to think things through.
I don't know.
Very true.
I kind of might be on this guy's side.
Oh, this guy's an idiot, kind of like me, because I would have probably done the same thing.
So am I. I'm an idiot. We're all idiots, What a great way to end the show there. Just calling each other dumb.
You see it.
What are friends for?
Well, you know what? The more I think about it, that guy, what is he supposed to do?
That's my point.
You take an Uber because they normally have.
I'm with you, Maddie. I'm on Maddie's side.
They don't have just like house cars for you to take your test in.
Okay, or then you call someone that has a car and say, "Hey, I'll give you $20 if you take me to the DMV." And
you don't know the semi in the back today. Sorry, you got to take that.
Matt, those are two different licenses, and you know it.
In Germany, how do you know that?
Valid point.
I don't think it changes.
Well, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't stick you in a semi, but you got to know one person with a car.
Maybe he's new. Maybe he's new to Germany.
Just, you know what? You said you got to think things out. You think this one out, Boomy.
Maybe he's got an internet. Maybe he's got a license in another country that's just not accepted in Germany, and he just assumed that
Let's have a heart. Let's have a heart.
I might be on this guy's side. I think you're being too nice to this guy.
I think you're being too mean. But this has been the TCF Morning Show, Tuesday, November 13th. Thank you to Boomy at Boomy TCF and Matt Schoolfield at schools_01 on Twitter for joining me this morning. I am Zach Lilya at Z Lilya. TCF, the main page is at typical_Chicago. Facebook, Instagram, just type in typical Chicago fans. You will find us on there. go over to YouTube, type in Typical Chicago Fans, subscribe to the Typical Chicago Fans YouTube page. All of our morning shows, podcasts, interviews, food reviews, all on there. And then wherever you get your podcast from, type in Typical Chicago Fans. You will find us on there. If it's Apple, please subscribe, rate, and review. Shout out to Connect Roasters. Go over to connectroasters.com for all of your coffee needs, merch needs, things to make coffee with. So go over to connectroasters.com and follow them on all social medias, and also go to beerbaseballrepeat.com and get your TCF shirt, typical Chicago fan shirt. We got sweatshirts, long sleeves, short sleeves, tank tops. If you want presents for your family, or if you just want a shirt, go to Beer Baseball Repeat. They also have other shirts that you will love. Follow them on Instagram. Anything else, boys?
Let's have a beautiful week. It's getting cold, but let's enjoy it and come home and snuggle up and watch some sports all night because they're everywhere.
That's true. Let's snuggle up and watch some sports. This has been the TCF Morning Show, Tuesday, November 30th. We love you all.
Peace.